I knew that I needed to find a place where I could build skills on the other end. Build the skills of finishing, build the skills of walking away.
I'm on a long drive. I feel like having a conversation. So I want to talk a little bit about perfectionism in creative endeavors. Because, man oh man, I have been in my final editing stage of this latest video, the first solar punk video. I shouldn't even say first. As far as you know, the only solar punk video. I want to say I've been in the final editing stages for 8 days now. It's November 6th, and I would say that I finished it the day before Halloween. And what always happens when I finish a video is I export it, and I watch it all the way through, even though I've already watched it all the way through.
Who cares? You want to look at some pretty pictures? I do. Look at that. Wow. Wow. I love this one.
I've watched this so many times. And I realize that music track is a little bit too loud. There's a stray frame right there. I think I could make my point a little bit better if I swapped out this graphic for this graphic. Ooh, there's a couple clicks in this line and I find them like really harsh on the ear, and while I'm at it I could probably turn down this one word that's hitting me a little bit sharp. Little fiddly things like that. Now, is this something I need to do? No, I don't. Most of my friends, even before I would say that I've finished a video, they would... Wow. So fast. Come on, rest of the way. Yeah, okay. Now, I definitely don't need to do this. Most people would not notice a lot of these very small things. Like, especially a stray frame here and there. I know that most of y'all just listen to my videos, and that's fine. Do whatever you want to do. But I notice them. And my videos are partially for me too, right? There are certain things like a music track being way too loud, or sometimes I'll notice I've accidentally overlapped 2 music tracks just because, like, when you're moving stuff around, that kind of stuff happens, and it'll just hit my ear so harshly, or so it'll just be distracting. And I'm like, well, if even on my like low end view counts, if 2,000 people watch this video, and of those 2,000, 300 watch it all the way through, that's like an entire auditorium full of people. And like, how long would I spend to deliver a good experience to an entire auditorium full of people? Like, a long time. A long time. That's a lot of people. Spending an additional 8 days of QA on every single video, though? At some point, that's just preventing me from getting to my other projects, isn't it? I don't want to show you my full video spreadsheet because there's full titles and everything in there, and no spoilers, but there are, I want to say maybe 30, 40 videos that are in some stage of the process. Either I've like written a script for them or most of a script. In some cases, they're being edited or I've recorded for them. Some of them are straight up almost done. And I mean, that's why, like, with, you know, membership and Patreon, like, you can see some of the ones that I've basically finished, and there's just been something about them where I'm like, it's not fully there. It's not fully ready. Like the solar punk video that I'm hopefully going to put out on Monday or whatever. That video, if you look at the description, I say in that video, I finished this 6 months ago. But there was something about it that just wasn't hitting. And so I put it away, I brought it back, and I'm happy that that's what I did. I think that the pacing is better. I think that I used better source material. Like, I used more art. I found more art, and I think that that was fantastic for that video because it's all about artists. So I'm happy I waited.
Have you ever heard someone say, I'm gonna write a book, but I need to stop telling people that I'm gonna write a book because then I get that sweet dopamine hit just from describing the fact that I am definitely writing a book?
I had a friend that I used to write with, and he was always such an enigma to me because he would finish one book every single month. And, there I was struggling to compose one book. I still haven't finished a book. We're working on it. It's NaNoWriMo. But yeah, he would always show up and he would say, oh, yep, I just put out my latest book. It was a struggle. This one started working on it 5 weeks ago. Whoa. And that was just wild to me. How do you do that? How am I sitting here, like, fiddling so hard, like, going back to outline, back to, massaging, like, little things, and you're just uninhibited, you're just doing it. You're just out here, just writing your heart out. I didn't understand it. And then I finally went and I checked out one of his books, and I found a typo on the front page. And so, of course, that validated my perfectionist brain. I'm like, I would never. I was appalled. I was outraged. Of course, this inferior product. I was bitchy about it in my own head. And I remember that we went back to the bar after I'd read that book, and of course, I had this typo in my head. I'm so validated. Like, sure, I've never written a book and I might never write a book in my entire life, but at least there will be no typos in the book that I've never written. And at the bar that night, I kind of said something like, how do you do it? How do you decide when it's done? How do you decide when it's done? And he said, it'll never be done. So I just put it out there. Because I love writing books. And I have so many ideas and I want to put them all into the world. I want to work on all of them. I don't want to stifle myself. And so I know that I could probably sit there and obsess. And in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, I could probably release maybe a better book. But that book will still not be done. And it will not be as good as the next one that I write. Because each book gets me closer to... What's up, bud? Because each book teaches me a lesson. I grow every single time doing this process. And so what I do today is just never going to be as good as the next thing I do. And so why don't I just keep doing? And that bothered me. That bothered me too. As much as I understood that, as much as I honestly kind of liked that answer, I had a different experience. Because I was doing YouTube at the time. And I published my first video, which was on I Am Not Okay With This, the Netflix show. And I got so many comments on it that said things like, wow, I can't believe this is your first video. And I would say to all of them, it wasn't. You didn't get to see my first video. Because it wasn't good enough. So I deleted it. Well, I didn't delete them so much as I never released them in the first place. There was a graveyard of unfinished editing timelines and ideas that I was passionate about, but way too scared to actually finish. Or I didn't delete it, I'm just, straight up, I have some scripts from like 2018 that I still haven't finished because there's just something that's not ready. There's something that's not right. Hoping to get one of them out next year. But those things validated me again. Like, I started making videos 3 years before I released my first one, and now everybody can see the honing of my craft and they appreciate it and they're impressed, and so, aren't I right? Aren't I right? No, I'm not right, and I'm not wrong. There's kind of a middle ground, or it's just up to you. It's up to you and what you can live with and how you want to create.
This thing that I'm going to make is I am going to come out onto the scene with a bang. I am going to make something perfect and everyone will notice it. And it's like, no, you need to accept that some of the stuff that you're going to make is going to suck. When I can accept that, when I can get myself into a place where it's like, all right, some of the things I'm going to make are going to be not great, or are going to be just kind of okay. When you accept that, then you're able to actually make things. And so there's a point where like...
There's a Dan Olson video that I really liked. He's like answering some viewer questions, I think on a live stream, and somebody, I don't even remember what the question was, but I remember he said, like, my creative advice is just make something. And don't only make something, finish something.
Tons of people have pointed this out, is that creative people have this habit of starting projects and then never finishing them. And what I had realized is that that is skill building, is that you are learning how to start projects and you get better and better at starting projects. But because you're never finishing projects, you're not building the skill of completing something. You're not building the skill of walking away from something.
We often don't really get a lot of practice finishing things. We will start, we will obsess over that start, we'll kind of move into the middle, but then we'll pull back a little bit and maybe like refine what we'll tinker, we'll go back to basics, back to formula, and then we'll maybe branch out a little bit back into that middle, and then we'll retreat a little bit and maybe get distracted by something else. Because the closer we get to finishing something, the farther we are from our usual mode. Our usual mode is ideating, in all likelihood. Our usual mode is starting. Insert Samwise Gamgee, if I take one more step.
It'll be the farthest away from home I've ever been.
And yeah, before you finish a project, when you hit that export button, when you hit that publish button, suddenly that's the farthest from home you've ever been. And most of us don't retread all the way to that. Like, how many videos did I say that I've started? Dozens at least. I want to say 50. You know, I've started writing 50 or more videos. And I've started editing, 80. I've started writing 80 or more videos. I've started editing, I want to say 40, 50 or more videos. How many have I published? Like 20? Because completing something, saying this is done, feels like admitting this is as good as I can get that thing to be. And to a perfectionist, I think that kind of feels like admitting defeat. Or it feels like a criticism of your own skills, which it's like, none of us are perfect, and we do keep getting better. So yeah, maybe this is literally the best that you can get this to be right now, and maybe that's okay. There's some tension here, where perfectionism can feel almost altruistic. Like, I want my audience to have the best experience that I can give them, so I should definitely torture myself and keep such a high standard for myself so that I can never truly be happy with my work. Because if I can always feel like I owe people more, that'll light the fire to keep getting better and better and releasing the best stuff that I can. It's genuinely hard to resolve this tension, because that extra 9 days of delay did not feel good for me, but the product at the end was better. Managing those trade-offs is part of life as a person making things. And if you're not releasing stuff, if you're just editing and editing and editing and editing and starting new things and never passing the middle and never pressing the publish button, you're not getting practice resolving those trade-offs. You're not getting practice managing those emotions. The emotions that come with saying, this is done. This is the best that I'm going to get this right now. Those are skills I wasn't practicing. And of course, the longer you spend on a project, the more it becomes your baby. Oh, I've spent 3 years on this, so surely I should take another 2 days, another 5 days, another year. Let me just sit on this indefinitely. Because this is my baby, and I've poured so much into it. Shouldn't I make sure it's literally fucking perfect before I let it see the light of day? Should I finish this? Or should I wait for some future, hypothetical, better version of myself? And we have to practice that part. We have to get better at releasing something. The entire process, we have to get better at, final steps, final looks. That's honestly something that will improve my process. The more I get used to doing my final QA, I think I can probably take this last stage down from 8 days. Because I make some mistakes. Like, I inserted credits over the top of the video layer, and then I kept deciding that I wanted to move things around, and so suddenly I have to move all the credits too. And I did the credits stupidly, is all you need to know. And I will internalize those things the more I get used to finishing stuff, getting to that stage. You know, my book writing friend had some pretty good advice that I could have stood to learn from a lot earlier.
Come on, Sam.
And so at some point, it is important to look at yourself and go, I can put this down. And at the end of the day, is it better for my audience for me to withhold? Could my audience tolerate a stray frame here and there? Probably. So some of that is also a little bit of trust. What it feels like to have your work be public. What it feels like to read comments. This, you can fucking see the selfie stick. There are gonna be things wrong with this video. I'm gonna have noticed that I said the wrong word, or that there's some weird pause, or that I wish I did another take of something, or I'm gonna realize I forgot some sentence, or I'm gonna realize that I'm kind of whispering right now, and that might sound kind of weird, and I'm doing it because there are pedestrians over there and I'm uncomfortable. But, you know, that's okay. For now, maybe it's okay that I get this out in a way that's not perfect. Maybe it's good for me to practice that too. Maybe it's good for me to practice hitting the publish button, knowing that there are some things I could have done differently. Because I have so much that I want to share with you guys. And so, yeah, we're just gonna keep going. Yeah, thanks for watching. Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments because, especially on these more just kind of rambly personal ones, I always love hearing what y'all think. So anyway, say goodbye to Topeka, Kansas. Bye.
I don't want to foster a societal, ecological, technological revolution. I want to live in the byproduct of the conditions that someone else brought about, whatever they were, however that happened, which fostered an ecological, societal, technological revolution that already happened.